Lovely. Okay, thank you everyone for your time this evening. I appreciate for those that have delivered previously under the Happy programme that you may feel that you are already aware of a lot of the things that we're going to go through this evening. There are always changes to playways. There are always new elements that we just want to share with you. So it's a really good opportunity to do this in a forum where people can ask questions, and also obviously there may be questions that are answered by someone else asking those questions. As we've said, we are recording this evening. Please do keep yourself on mute unless you are able to come off mute and ask a question. But please do raise your hand so that we can obviously come round and do that at the correct time. Also, please do put information in the chat. We will monitor that. And obviously, as we go through, we'll answer any questions that come in. Orla, next slide for me, please. Okay, so we just wanted to start this evening by thanking you. So a lot of the providers on the call this evening have been providers for multiple phases of Happy, but in particular we just wanted to highlight the successes of the Easter period. We've had an opportunity to offer 16,500 places over Easter, and the number of opportunities that were taken up is the highest that we've had in any delivery phase up to now. We have an external sort of an aspiration to ensure that there is a camp for every eligible participant within a 5-mile radius, and we've almost hit that through the delivery that we did across the Easter period, which is a really fantastic milestone for us and means that we are reaching those of the highest need. We've also really appreciated the providers who have been able to ensure that there is an opportunity to utilise cancellations and also waiting lists, and also ensuring that people are sharing camps nearby to them when their own camps were full. And that was a really, really, really positive opportunity to make sure that people still had an opportunity to attend a camp, even if it wasn't something of their first choice. We are trying to get better at our sharing. So we had our first Learn and Share event before the Easter period, and we've also really enjoyed reading the information that's come back this time from HCF in your monitoring around the case studies and the impact that's being made. And Alex will touch upon this a little bit more moving forward, but that's something that we really want to continue to do. So please do keep telling us about your experiences. Please do keep sharing. But most importantly, we did want to start by saying thank you. Next slide. Okay, so the summer period, not the Easter period, will be starting on the 24th of July. So just over 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks delivery phase this summer. As you'll be aware, we are what's happened there? Okay, there we go. We are providing opportunities for school-age children. So that does mean that children who are in reception are eligible to attend Happy camps, and we will touch upon age eligibility a little bit more later. The original and the main criteria for attendance, as we know, is it being in receipt of benefit-related free school meals, and that we aim to offer 4 hours minimum per day. 1 hour of sport physical activity, 1 hour of enrichment, and a hot meal. We continue to use playways, and we thank Emma for her time this evening to go through the really exciting changes that have gone through in the last few weeks on playways. And this summer, we're aiming to offer 41,500 mainstream places and 1,500 SEN specific. We've actually been in a really fortunate position that we've actually been able to offer more SEN specific places over the summer, which is fantastic because we know that there's the need and demand out there for the young people. Just so that you are aware, we also do work now directly with 2 local providers of services, so Services for Young People and SBLO, Short Breaks Local Offer. They obviously cover young people, and services SBLO cover more severe SEN needs. So they have also been able to benefit from funding, and we're excited to ensure that there is even more opportunity for people within those age groups for the summer. Just a reminder then what we're trying to achieve. So ultimately, we want children to be part of engaging and enriching opportunities. We want to ensure that there is an opportunity to be active. So even if your camp isn't focused necessarily on physical activity in the first instance, there is that opportunity to be active. Obviously, through the provision of the food, we want the opportunity for children to have a hot and healthy meal. And more importantly, to try and stay engaged, not become isolated, which is something that over such a long period of time, some of the young people may experience as part of their home lives. We also want to ensure that we are able to continue to support the families. And I've said it multiple times, we're not ever looking for people to become experts, but to know what services and provision are out there for people should they need it. Next slide. So as we've mentioned, the eligibility remains to be those who are in reception to year 11, in receipt of benefits related free school meals, and they must attend school in Hertfordshire. So we do sometimes get queries around that. And if you do ever get anyone that reaches out to you and you're unsure, please do let us know and we can let you know whether or not we believe that child may be eligible. There are also the additional vulnerabilities. So these aren't an exhaustive list, and it does not mean that a child would instantly be eligible. Again, if you do have an approach from a parent and they do meet any of these criteria, in an ideal world, we would look to work with a referral agency to ensure that there is grounds to grant them a referral code. We can only have 15% of our total attendance throughout the referral. Again, we've not reached that over the Easter period, but we do need to ensure that we are reaching those of greatest need who don't qualify in the first instance. Okay, so eligible families continue to receive their codes through their schools. Obviously, summer is a long period, so normally you would find that people would have already been in contact with their school, and they will obviously have the opportunity to follow up and get those codes wherever possible. Over the course of 5.5 weeks, there will always be somebody who perhaps did not receive a code or did not learn about the Happy programme until the holidays have already happened. And obviously at that stage, they can't go to their school to receive a code. So if you do have any families across the summer that aren't in receipt of their code from their school, they will need to come through HSP and we will do a basic eligibility check. So that is something that will continue to happen. So we don't want people to miss out if they haven't received their code, but we do need to try wherever possible to identify whether we believe they should be eligible. That could also still come from a referral agency. So we will most likely still work with people like Families First over the course of the summer period. But obviously we just need to be aware and mindful of the eligibility of the families. We will be using our website, and you will notice over the course of the summer period that our website will be changing, but that won't affect where the booking platform will be. The website will just look slightly different, and we continue to offer telephone support for those that need it through our Children and Young People's team. Final reminder, children can only attend one camp per day. So if you do have a morning and an afternoon session, a child can only attend one or the other. Okay, Sarah, over to you. Grant funding letter.
Thank you. Hi everyone, good to see so many of you after the last few months of chatting over the phone and email. So by now everybody who has received an offer should have had an email with 3 attachments, that being a grant agreement, a memorandum of understanding and a training record template. If you've provided previously, the grant agreement has changed this time, so please don't feel as if you've read it once, you've read it, you know, you need to read this one because it is different. So please read it thoroughly so you understand kind of what's required. We do need 2 signatures on both the grant agreement and the MOU. And if you're a sole trader, we'd ask you to maybe ask your accountant to sign, or just someone who is involved with the organisation in some way. We do definitely need those 2 signatures, and also wet signatures as well. So no type signatures on that paperwork. That would be great. In terms of the training record, again, that's changed for summer delivery. You'll notice that this time we'll be asking for the safeguarding lead for your organisation. I'm sure this will be touched on later in the session, but that training record, again, please, if you've delivered previously, don't send us the spring version. We do need you to complete the summer version. As per last delivery period, there is a deadline for asking all of your staff to be up to speed with their mandatory training, and that's the 14th of July. We are sending out separate communications about training to make it really clear, especially for newer providers or anyone who's delivering for the first time over summer, exactly what's required. We're trying hard to make sure that our communications dovetail with that of HSP training. So we're really trying not to overwhelm you with information. Please let us know. But yeah, we're working collaboratively to try and streamline those messages. Just to say, as part of your grant agreement, you will need to submit a monitoring report, and the links to those will be coming out to you in the next week or so. The deadline for your monitoring, which is in your grant agreement, is the 8th of September. And to try and reduce the dates flying around, that is also the deadline for entering all your attendance information onto Playways. And that will come on to that again a bit later. Just to say, some of you may have conditions attached to your grant agreement, and these are based on lots of different factors. It might be something from your audit visit, from your monitoring report, it might be from attendance data from spring. But if there's anything you don't understand and you're not sure why this has been kind of set as a condition for you, please just ring us and chat to us. More than happy to go through anything at all if something isn't clear. And yeah, Emma and I are both at the end of the phone. We've got full coverage Monday to Friday at Herts Community Foundation now for Happy. So please give us a call if you want to chat through anything. And just to say that training deadline for the training record of the 14th of July has been set so that we can make sure everyone gets paid ahead of delivery. Because if we receive training record sheets and if mandatory training isn't completed by then, we're in danger of not having time to process your payment in time for when you start delivery. So that's why that deadline has been set for then. If anyone's got any questions about grant payment now, then happy to answer them if there's anyone who wants to ask anything.
Hi, Dan, if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, it wasn't regarding the grant payment, it was regarding the mandatory training. So we've tried to book some of our coaches onto like the ACEs training program, and I think it's the 5 steps to well-being, and it goes through to, is it Streetwise, the provider? We went through the Heart Sports Partnership website, and then there's no courses there, that they're not always available to book on. It just leaves you with like a blank page. I did email them, and was sent a different link, which meant I was able to book on, but if you go via the Heart Sports Partnership link, it doesn't seem to work, and not all of the courses are available to book on. So it was just to make you aware of that. I don't know whether other people have experienced that issue or not.
I'll chime in there if you want to, Sarah. Hi, is it Mike? Sorry. Dan, sorry. So I'm Emma, and I lead on the training with HSP. So we're kind of the coordinators of the actual delivery, whereas Sarah and Emma deal with kind of the training spreadsheet and the link to the grant offer. It's Street Games that offer some of the courses that we do, and the 2 that you mentioned just then, it is both of them are provided by Street Games. They should go through to the direct courses, or it should be like a basket function where that link should be specific to the course that you've selected, and it puts it into a basket for you to kind of book that. If you've never logged into Street Games at all, I think it asks you to kind of create a little account to be able to add that to your basket, and that should be specific courses. But if there is any issues, obviously, that you're still experiencing, then please do email into the HSP training.
I was sent a link from Charlotte Piddington, who's the training and network services officer at Street Games, and she sent me new links which worked, but she said in the email she had tried the Heart Sports Partnership link, and she'd had the same problem with me, and she didn't know why. So I'm just flagging it for you guys in case there becomes an issue for other providers.
I'll certainly look into that, and I'll speak to Charlotte and our main contact at Street Games to see what the issue there is. What was it, Charlotte?
Piddington. Yeah. I think that was for the Aces.
Okay. Neither of those are mandatory as such, but they're obviously you want to be booking onto them if you're interested in them. So that is absolutely an issue. So we'll definitely feed that back, and I'll try and get. If you can pop your email in the chat function, Dan, I could email you directly if you've had any other further issues. But
are there links? Because I'm Stan Law. I mean, someone else within our club has been dealing with the application and stuff. I'm just sitting in today because she's unavailable to make the call. Are there links to the mandatory training programs that you can set up today at all, or put in the chat? That would be quite useful, I think.
Yeah, we can follow up with an email with the links that can come from HSP training. I'm just conscious we've got a couple more questions, Dan, so if that's okay, we can follow up with you from here. Thank you. Akila, is yours a sort of general question? If it's specific to your grant, it might be one that Sarah needs to speak to about separately.
Hi there. Sorry, I don't know. I guess it's kind of general, but it is grant payment related. I don't know whether or not anybody else, but obviously with when we're applying for pay or invoicing for payment, presumably most people kind of invoicing like for the full sum, for argument's sake. But what I've kind of found is that because I've got different suppliers coming out at different months, it's sometimes would be useful, I've been told by my accountants, is if that kind of invoicing can be split so that it falls into different months, as so that we're paying our suppliers. So it's basically the incoming and outgoing kind of goes in the relevant month. So in general, the question is does the full amount need to be invoiced in full, or can it be split?
So that's a good question, and not one that I've had since I joined 3-4 months ago. I do know. Oh no, it's brilliant. It's really good. It's really good to ask these things. What I do know is that organisationally for us, if every organisation wanted us to do that, could potentially be a challenge for us to manage.
Yeah.
However, if it's really critical for the business need and there's no other way you can deliver without payments that are kind of spread potentially, but I'd have to ask the question internally, and I'm sorry it's unhelpful, I don't know 100% whether that's a yes or a no, but yeah, generally it is the full payment that we make in one, but I'm happy to ask the question, Kile, definitely.
It just kind of makes, sometimes from a business point of view, it kind of looks like you get this huge influx and then it just nothing happens after that, which doesn't look, you know, especially if you're you know, for some of us, our accounting periods differ. So it might be that it ends in summer, so something might come in, but all the outgoings and the expenses come in after that. So
I'll definitely ask the question.
Do you see what I mean? So it can make a difference to how things look from an accounts perspective.
Yeah. I'll ask that for tomorrow morning. I'll get you an answer on that.
Great.
Lovely. And then I'm just going to take one more question because someone else has got their hand up, and then we'll move on. So is it Dupay? Have you got a question?
Yes, I do. Just a quick one. The children that are starting reception in September, are they eligible to attend the camp in the summer?
No, we're going to cover that later on. So I'll come back to that one.
Okay,
but we'll answer your question in a bit.
Just
that
the
right?
last bit of it is, if a provider has stated that they want to cater for reception to year 6, would that be against the rules if they don't cater up to year 11?
Oh no, we wouldn't expect anyone to be doing the full age range at all. No, you
Right.
do an age range that you as a provider would suit. So no, we're not expecting you to do the full spectrum at all.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no worries. Okay, we'll move on then. Okay, so I'm actually going to hand over to Emma now, Emma Catlin, just to talk you through a little bit more about the training.
Yeah, hi guys. So as I briefly said, I'm Emma Catlin. There's lots of Emmas in the organisation, I'm aware, so it can be a bit confusing. But essentially we at HSP have, as of January, so the providers that have provided in Easter will know that the training was taken over by us at Heart Sports Partnership as kind of coordinating the programme, having previously sat with Hearts Community Foundation directly. But it's just to say that as a happy provider, you are entitled to access a full programme of fully funded training. It is free to you at the point of delivery, but it is at a cost to us, so that's why we're just changing that rhetoric a little bit, that it's fully funded, because there are some sort of challenges around whether courses are full or filled enough to be suitable to go ahead and meet those minimum numbers, but we do always try and push it out to anyone external to make sure that they do go ahead for you. So there is a full programme of courses that we offer to meet all the mandatory training requirements in safeguarding, food safety and first aid. There is a variety of other courses that should help you upskill in lots of other areas, behavioural challenges, gender expression, lots of different things that support that, not necessarily mandatory obviously, but are kind of relevant for the cohort of people that you will expect at your camps, and should help you in general upskill yourself and the rest of your team in that. We've got a dedicated courses website, and that is regularly updated if there's any other changes to dates, venues, courses, if there's any courses that are added. So that's the best place to look at where the most up-to-date courses are being offered. We do also have a training programme which we will circulate and have done so via a kind of PDF that is generally relevant for when it was last updated. So the website is probably the best place to get the most up-to-date information, as that's just regularly updated. But just as a bit of an overview, I don't know if you want to just digest that. That's the courses we've got coming up. So we've added some extras in this delivery period versus Easter. So maximising the 5 ways to wellbeing. We had a similar sort of course offered by Hearts Mind last round, but Street Games are offering this course with a slightly different focus, and there's 2 courses that are offered for different dates on that one. We tried to keep it a range of different times, so whether it's afternoon, evening, just to make sure that there's those options for you. We do realise that you're working all hours, and it doesn't always fit everyone. We can't always offer that, but we do hope it gives you enough of a split, so it's covering some of your staff that then can help with upskilling the rest of your staff. We've also got safeguarding courses. We've got on-demand courses, so they are not specifically on a date or a time for live or in-person courses. They are available on a platform called iHasco. So the 9 courses that are listed there are completely at your own time frame you want to do them. They are generally shorter bite-sized courses. And we do offer the safeguarding the food element is 2 of your 3 mandatory in that capacity. So hopefully that helps out. The first aid courses do have to be in person for the level of qualification we do require you to have as the minimum standards for happy. But there's various dates for them. Based at the university, Hearts Sports Village have run those for us. So there's various 1-day emergency first aid at work, and there's a couple of dates of 1-day emergency paediatric first aid. I believe those get them filled up fairly quickly, so the 1-day emergency first aid is probably your best bet coming up to summer. There's about 6 dates of those running up to delivery. Then there's disability, autism awareness, lots of other things. So keep us up to date if you want a little bit more, if you've got an idea for future courses, if you've got any issues with actually booking. So like Dan's just flagged, if there's any issues on our platform or the website that we've got for you to book onto the courses, if there's any issues with that, do email us at HSP Training as well. If for whatever reason you can't attend a live session, you have actually booked onto it, we obviously know that life gets in the way sometimes. Most of the online sessions are recorded. It depends on the provider that gives that to us as to whether that is possible for their type of delivery, but most of them are. So if it's a case that you can't attend live but you would like to be shared the post-course resources or any recordings we've got, we could look to do that. So do make contact with us. And just to highlight 2 kind of key things that we've got on our website as well. Most of the courses are directly bookable, but we do have a relationship with the Phoenix Group for Deaf Children and Young Adults, who I think they have contacted some providers to see if they can help support some deaf attendees to your camps. But we didn't have enough interest to have a full course last rounds, but we have got an expression of interest form that's constantly on the website ongoing for the deaf awareness and introduction to British Sign Language. So do, whenever you feel like you can or want some more information on that, express your interest there and we can make contact with you and put you in contact with the Phoenix Group to possibly offer some one-to-one training, which is a bit more bespoke rather than just putting on a generic course for everyone if we haven't got the numbers to meet that. But if you specifically want that support, we could always, we've got the funding and Phoenix Group can offer the more direct support, so we could put you in contact. So do express your interest on that form on the website. And then new for this round, we've got a safeguarding level 3 course. So that is generally aimed at kind of slightly more senior safeguarding responsible adults in your organisation, or your designated safeguarding leads if they need a more up-to-date qualification. We've got that running on the 13th of July, 9 till 5. It is a full day course, which is a small assessment. So there just is a little bit more of a commitment to that than possibly some of the workshops and things. So we're kind of collating those bookings more centrally. So again, if you're interested in attending that course, or you've got someone in your organisation that is interested, please do complete the expression of interest form. That's also on the website as well for us to contact you directly and get you booked on that date. I think that's it really, unless there's any other direct questions. I haven't kept up to date with the chat.
Sarah, do you just want to jump in there because you've got your hand up?
Yeah, just to say, I've seen a few questions about training come up in the chat. So my colleague Emma Dalton, who is part of the Happy team at Hertfordshire Community Foundation, she did send an email today at 3 p.m. and it's got really step-by-step clear information about exactly what people need. So I saw a question about first aid come up, and that's covered in there, saying that, you know, each camp needs at least one fully qualified first aider, but we recommend a couple in case of sickness, etc. But please do have a look at the email she sent today at 3. It came from Happy Grants at Hearts CF, and it's just a really you know, step by step of what needs it, what do you need, who needs it, when do they need it, and how. So I really hope that's helpful and just might answer a few questions that have come up.
Lovely, thank you, Sarah. Kate, we've noted your comment in regards to first aid courses being full. Emma, that's one you might just need to follow up with in terms of maybe seeing if HSV can add any more on that one.
Was that a paediatric first aid? Sorry,
I think general first aid by the looks of it, but yeah, it's just in the chat if you want to have a look.
And Bianca as well, I think there's a mention of whether you need to do a course through us.
Paediatric.
If you're already, yeah. If you are already DSL trained, or if any of your qualifications that meet our minimum standard requirements are in date, then there is no need to do it further through us. If they're in date, then you can submit them on the training spreadsheet as you would normally. It's just an offer, obviously, for getting any new staff that are trained up or that retraining if that has run out. The safeguarding level 1 is the minimum we require. So the online on-demand version of the safeguarding level 2, you don't need a prerequisite of having a level 1. It is a standalone course, so you can just do the online version of that, and that would qualify you enough as the minimum standards as well. So there's but yeah, hopefully the email that Emma Dalton sent directly out from Happy Grants, we both collaborated on that email to make it as clear as possible as to what is required and whether there's those prerequisites at all. So hopefully that has made it a bit clearer, or it's been forwarded on to you by your direct contact.
Cool, thank you, Emma. Obviously, if there are further questions, I am seeing a few more come up in the chat. Emma, if you can just monitor the chat for a bit and just answer any of those, that'd be great. And then we can move on. So next slide, Orla. Okay, so now we hand over to the other Emma. Emma Trunks from Playways, and she is going to take you through some of the changes that have been made and the areas in which we need to be aware of for the summer. So over to you, Emma.
Cool, thanks Louise. Yeah, hi everyone, thanks so much for joining this evening, and I'm sorry to overcomplicate. I am now the third Emma that's been introduced on this phone call, so sorry to be another Emma. I could have come up with all sorts of names then, but yeah, Emma's probably the best way to go. And I've actually recognised loads of names. So firstly, hello, some of you that I've spoken to before as well. In terms of this evening, I have quite the task because I have to train new providers that are on this call, but also in generally update some of you that obviously worked with Playways probably from the start, and then picked up throughout the Happy programme as well. So this will cover the process from signing up all the way through to creating your activities, and then just a bit of a refresher for all the bits. So there'll probably be some bit that you can just ignore me a little bit on, because you'll be like, I've heard this bit 100 times. But obviously it's relevant to anyone that's new with us this evening as well. So please bear with us. The Hearts team are also experts. They probably don't like to call themselves this, but they are experts on the platform. So if you do have any questions while I am talking through anything on the platform, do just pop them in the chat. I'm happy to pick some extra bits up. I also think we do have another call next week if you wanted a little refresher as well, if there's any points missed. So bear with me while I just share my screen and get started. If someone can let me know that you can see my screen, and then I will kick off from there. I'm probably sharing faces back to you at the moment. Yeah, thanks.
There are. Just while you're sorting that out, Emma, just to say there is a question and answer session on Friday at 12 noon. So if people aren't sure of anything Playways related after today, that is the session that we would be signposting you to, and a link will go out for that on Thursday. So, yep, there we go.
Fab. So those of you that are brand new, you can just head to playways.com and you will want to create an account. So at this point, you're just getting your credentials into the system. So your first name, last name, and email. So what I'd recommend here is that you use your organisation. It might be that you actually want to use like an info @ account here, but it will be your administrator account that's in the platform when I show you how to get started. For those of you that are just returning and you just want to log in, you just need to head back to Playways, log in. I'm sure some of you won't need to be told how to do that process. This next point, you're going to land on your homepage. So apologies that mine is full of lots of stuff. I've tried to reduce it down for this call this evening. But this is just a refresher for those of you returning. You've got your feed on your left-hand side. So this is your activity, what's going on. So you can see here when you start to engage with your parents that have been back. If you put a newsfeed post in your community, for example, they'll be able to see it on the left-hand side. So every account has a homepage. So you've got a feed on the left. On the top hand corner of your account, you'll have a community. So these are the ones that are returning. For those of you who get started, this page will be a little bit blank for now, but I will explain how you get stuff in this page. And then your parents will also, and children that are in the platform within their accounts, will have the activities that they've booked, and then also a calendar at the bottom of their screen. So when you've actually got bookings in your calendar, I might have to scroll back to find some in mine. There we are. There were some red dots there in April. These are just to note the bookings that I've actually got in my calendar as well. So everyone's account, if they're booked onto activity, this is kind of their homepage. We call it My Play, but it's essentially all of my activity that I've engaged in on the platform. Slightly different for you guys as organisers, so a little bit more blank in here, but you can obviously see your newsfeed posts as well. For those of you that are getting started as brand new, when you get on this page, there'll be two options. So there'll be search playways, or there's organise. What you want to do is hit that organise button. I'm just going to show you another way of doing it. You can also see it's along the top of the orange bar up here, so you can press organise. So just to introduce some of you, this is a slightly new page, and if you have got multiple communities in the platform, mine takes a little bit longer to load because I've got a lot in here. You can also create a new community from here. So that's the process that you want to do. You either want to hit organise or press the organise button on the top bar, and then you'll press create a community. What happens then is this process, we're essentially going through setting up your, we call them communities, but it's essentially your organization on the platform. So on this page, you don't want to be a network, so ignore that one at the bottom. You want to make sure create a community is highlighted. When you click next here, you're going to land on a page that looks a little bit like this. So this is basically now you just telling the platform a little bit about your organization and what you want to set up. So I'm really apologize for my level of creativity on Monday evening, but I've got community create example as my name, which is absolutely terrible, and I should have been well prepped for this, but I have not come up with a better name. So you can put your lovely organization's name in the name of your community, a description of your community as well. So anyone that's just looking, browsing through and comes across you as an organization, you might just want to give them some information about you a contact email address. So that's mandatory. So just to be aware with this one, this is a generic email address that is also included as your main contact point. So when a booking confirmation goes out from the platform, the email address that you put in here will be on that email, that booking confirmation as well. So this is really useful, probably not to be personal email if that's possible, but an info at or an inbox where you manage any queries as well. Okay, you then want to enter your location. So this is just general location. It's not your actual venue at this point. So I'm just going to put Hertfordshire for now, but you can obviously put the town that you operate out of mainly. In terms of type of activity, there are a whole host of activities that we have listed in Playways. You can type and start searching for these. I've selected multi-sports for now, but if you don't find your activity on the list, you can just put that you've not got a default activity type. Okay. The final and most important option for this, if you're brand new, is the affiliated organization part at the bottom. So this is optional because this shows for anyone, but you need to make sure from this list that you select Heart Sports Partnership. So what this does is it connects you up to the right place. So one, it makes sure your activities can be found. So when that the activity finder goes live on the website, that connects your community you're about to create to Hertfordshire. Okay, so when I press create now and I've selected that Heart Sports Partnership, what it's doing is it's going right that my terrible example is going to be added to the Heart Sports Partnership. So there's just a couple things for me to run through here. I'll do a bit of a refresher on the homepage for some of you returning to the platform as well. So this is essentially your community homepage. Okay, so I'll give you a general view of here. Not to make matters complicated, but in just over a week's time, there will be a slight difference to the community homepage, and it's only in form of the banner image. So what we're doing is slightly changing the position of the banner image and your community logo. So just be aware, in like a week and a half's time, when you log back in, your homepage will be slightly different. Okay, we've had obviously our banner images in our community are quite long, so they're quite tricky to get good images. So you can see here, even on the example that I've selected as multi-sports, you actually can't see the head of this image. So if I just reposition, if I just roll up, you can see this image here. So what we're looking at doing is just improving the general view of your community homepages, and also making it easier for you guys to upload images to the platform. Okay, so this will change slightly, don't panic. All of the information will still be there, won't look too different, and it's just the display for now. So that's one thing just to keep your eyes peeled out for next time. For those of you returning, before you get started, what I'd suggest that you do is you just go to your settings menu and check your security settings. So you shouldn't need to change anything, but you might want to update your email address. You might want to add your Facebook link or your Twitter or anything like that if you're putting out any social media for summer. And how you access that is through your settings bar here, and you just press edit, and what that does is it opens up a new menu. So what I am going to do is show you this menu, because some of you are probably like, oh, this is another new page. So I'm sorry, we don't like to make a habit of changing everything, but we're trying to slowly bring our UI up to speed, so to make it look nicer for everyone. So you can here see you've got the community about us page, so I can come in here, add a contact phone number, add a website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter handle, and you can also see your access and security settings as well. So we default these settings for you as part of the Heartsport Partnership Network, but you can obviously manage these yourself as well. Okay, so that's all from the blue settings cog in your community, and just press edit. Okay. When you land on your homepage, so just to, for those of you that are returning, I just wanted to say that there are a few other things that are different in here. So if you come back and you're like, oh, where have all my activities gone from previous? The system now automatically archives your activities. So this one's obviously a brand new one, but I'm going to just use Hearts Sport Fed and Red one as an example now because there's some activities in here. If you use this filters button, okay, most of your activities would have moved to the archived status. Okay, so that essentially means they were running, they've passed, the end date has gone, it's been 2 weeks past the end date, and they're now in my archive list. Okay, so if you are needing to grab that description that you've written out because you're running the same activity, you can go back and you can still find your activities that are there. You can still get the imagery, etc. from them. They are still on the platform. We haven't removed them. We've just tidied up your homepage for you. Okay, so when you arrive, it'll probably look a little bit like this, but you still can navigate back to old activities if you need to as well. So just for those of you that are returning and go, oh, where are my activities gone? I promise they're still there. Okay, so that's just under the filters button. For those of you that are new, we use the activities feature for all the bookings in Playway. So across the Happy program, everyone is using the activities feature. So you can see here, this is automatically turned on for you. So this is really nice about making sure you select Heart Sports Partnership on that create flow, because we basically choose some settings for you. So it makes it nice and easy to make sure you've got the right things turned on. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dive straight into creating activities at this point. So most of you will be new to this flow. The flow hasn't changed at all. Okay, so don't worry too much about that. But obviously there's some specific bits within the flow that I just want to let you know that are different. Okay, so for those of you, when you land on this page, you should have premium automatically selected. So this is covered in your being part of the program. So whenever you create an activity, make sure this one is selected. Should be automatic. So you can just see it should already be ticked. Press continue, and then we're going to dive straight into the activity create. Okay, so you can see what I mean about bringing some of the Playways pages to life. These are next on the list in terms of some improvements to make them a little bit nicer to read. So first up, I'm not going to dive into great detail on some of these aspects just because we've not got loads of time and I want to make sure we cover the main bits of content. So for some of you that are new, you probably just want to copy what I'm doing in setup and just trust me that it's right. And then we can ask any questions and we can make any changes post that if you need to. Okay. So on this page, you want to make sure physical activity is ticked, and you don't want to be listing activities publicly because it's a specific program for HAF and they need to have eligible codes. Okay. So it gets a bit confusing if you're promoting it wider and people don't have access to be able to book your activities. This first page is just telling the system about your activity. So giving it a nice title and also uploading an image. So I always, the importance of that image is really useful for your parents. So you're on an activity finder. I'm going to try and set the scene without showing you one. You've got all of your lovely activities online, but those images are the real clinching pin of going, this looks really cool. So what's the title and also what your image looks like. So I know Hearts provide with some really good help with how you can drag and drop your kind of logos into things like that and what you can use. So please pay lots of attention to what sorts of image and title that you use. Hearts have definitely got better advice in terms of what titles you're going to give, and especially because I'm going to run through a demo now and this is probably going to be terrible, so I apologize in advance. So I'm going to do a swimming camp for now. As my title, but you guys can make that way more specific, and I know there's specific guidance on what works best for you, and I'm sure most of you have tried and tested week 1 versus week 2 and how you're going to book out set up your activities on the platform. Okay, this next page is your kind of I kind of describe this page as it's your opportunity to really personalize the information that you give parents. So a lot of the fields that you complete during this flow are set by Playways, and it's just how we show the information. So the description is your opportunity to really let parents know what's going on the activity. So it might even be like a breakdown of schedule of the day. This is available at the first time they try and book your activity. So trying to have the really good information and stuff that's really important in here, especially the things like if you've got specific information about pick up and drop off, like you need to park in this car park or don't park here, or you need to go through these doors, not these ones, all of those little niche details that you all have on your activities, this is where you can add that. So the description ends up in the booking confirmations as well. So any information that you add to your description will be in the booking confirmation. So parents will, when they successfully book one of your activities and they book their child onto one of your activity days, will receive a booking confirmation with that child's name, who the booking's for, and the description will also be in that along with your contact details. So this is your real opportunity to kind of add that extra detail. Okay.
Just quickly as well, Emma, just to say that is the bit as HSP we are checking as part of our pre-go live. So if we do reach out to you and say, please, can you put more in there? That is the area that we're talking about. We just want it to be nice and clear for anyone who goes onto your activity, exactly what it is, exactly what the children would be expecting to do, need, bring. So please do put as much as you can in that area, because it saves us needing to come backward and forward to you.
Fab. The second option on this page is then also if you've got any promotional material. So I know lots of you previously in Hearts like to add your videos. I actually love looking through the activity finder and seeing the videos that you guys upload. It's a real nice opportunity, especially for a parent when they first land on the finder that potentially hasn't booked before. It's a really nice opportunity to actually just have a quick nose of what your activity is about. So if you do have a promotional video, you can actually pop it in here. I've got an example later, so I'll show you what that looks like with a video inside of it as well. And that appears in the activity finder, but also on your homepage of your community. So if you do want to put a link into a video, the best way is a YouTube link. So better than uploading. Obviously, I know some of you probably have some quite big videos, but yeah, a YouTube link, or if you've got it on Facebook, anything like that, you can just pop that URL in there. Okay.
Emma, can you just answer quickly? Someone's asked if you can put more than one video on.
I don't think you can, but that is something we're looking at doing in the future. So that is, okay. And with photos as well. So the opportunity to be able to upload like a gallery photos of your activities as well. But yeah, that's on our list of roadmap things to potentially look at in the future.
Thank you.
All right. You can include them in the description as well. So if you do want to send out some more information, you can do it in your description as well. Okay. So this is the process now where you need to start giving the platform more information about what you're running. So we have some set fields here. It's up to you whether you want to use them or not. So difficulty, gender and disability are fixed. This is also, again, where I probably say include that information in your description. They are fixed playways fields, so there's not too much flexibility in here. But the one I want to point you toward is the age range here. The last one at the bottom, I've lost my clicker, there we go. So here's really useful to just give your parents an idea before they start booking what the age range you cater for. So this doesn't control eligibility. I'll come on to that in a few more slides, but it just does give your parents a little bit of a note of like, actually, we're delivering from 11 plus. So if I'm doing 11 to 14-year-olds, I can put that in. Or if I don't know, I'm terrible in terms of age ranges, will do 5 to 8-year-olds. Okay, that's my age range for my delivery of my activities. Okay, so you can put your age range in there, and that shows when a parent is booking. So it will say the age range, age suitability is X to X number. Okay. The final option on this page is the waiting list. So what this does, and I think this has obviously been promoted to be used heavily in Hertfordshire because a lot of you, I know your camps book out rapidly. I've already had parents start emailing playways about where the activities are. So they are absolutely raring to go to book your activities for summer, which is amazing to see. But in terms of that, managing your waiting list, so where your activity gets fully booked, this is essentially just allowing parents to be able to join a waiting list for spaces that then come available. So like Louise mentioned at the start, where you have cancellations and using that waiting list to add people back into your activity, so where those spaces become available. So you'll want to tick that, and what that essentially does is it automatically sends it on in the platform, but then it does need to be individually managed. But I'll talk through that one in a little bit more detail. Okay. So probably on the one that requires the most attention in terms of setting up your schedule for your activities. So I'm just going to focus on repeating activities for now, because I know you're delivering from end of July 24th to the 31st of August, about 5 weeks. So here, this is some of you will be used to kind of setting it up in weeks if that's how you best operate, or if you want to set up your full week schedule, you can do that as well. So you can set up your full summer schedule within one activity, or you can do multiple. And if you're running multiple activities, you can set them up as well. So the first thing to start with is your maximum hours. So for now, I'm just going to start for 4 because I know that's a maximum delivery time. You've got an organizer setting here, so most of you will be aware of this. This is essentially you giving out administration access to your activity. So if you, I assume, can't be in 2 places at once and you want to allow one of your team leads or your coach at one of the venues access to the activity, so being able to view the register, being able to manage and mark attendance, so essentially sharing the administration details, but across sessions you can make anyone in your community an organizer. So any of your colleagues, once they've got an account and they're in your community, you can set them as an organizer. It will automatically select the person that's going through this flow, so it's selecting me for now, but I can select someone else if I want to. There's no one else in my new community to select, but I'm going to leave this here now. This next part is your maximum number of participants. So if I've got 15 bookings available for each activity day, I put 15 in here. And obviously, because I've ticked the interested list earlier, as soon as my 15 are full, anyone that then tries to book onto my activity will be added to the waiting list. Okay, so then they're added to the waiting list in chronological order, and I can see who's most interested to book onto my activity. Your next option then is your venues. So I know previously we've done lots of work on making sure like your address information is correct. There is a venues tab in your community. So if you want to check or update and edit any of your venues just to check, if you do have parents that come through and never quite land in the right place, it might be worth just checking what your existing venues are. If you had any problems during Easter or summer with that. But I know we spent a bit of time like kind of tidying those up as well. So you can search venues in the platform, but you can also create your own as well. So if you're operating out of somewhere new that hasn't been added to Playways or isn't available on here, you can also add your own one. So I won't go through that flow now, but it's nice and self-explanatory. Name of the venue, what it operates, and just having a link and some information about the Google address as well. Okay, I'm going to be terrible now and just select the one that's there for Heart Sport Partnership. So apologies, I'm just going to click that one for ease. You've got 2 options for open and closed bookings. I'm going to focus on closed bookings. So this is the main one for you to be able to kind of check your registers, check you've got enough staff for that activity day, and obviously that all important food and making sure you're kind of where you need to be with your administration. So what this does, if you set maybe 1 or 2 days before your activity, it allows the maximum amount of time for bookings, but also allows you to close your bookings so you know that your bookings stay the same, so you don't go to sleep and wake up and go, oh, I've got 4 more people booked onto my activity and I haven't got food for them. So it just allows you to really manage the cutoff for bookings as well. So I'd always recommend using one or 2 days to close your bookings, and obviously you can administer that as you see fit for some of you that have used the platform before. Okay. In terms of the scheduler, so some of you might be new to this. Hopefully most of you have now seen it in Easter. I believe we released it for Easter. So the idea was that we improve this constantly and make it a little bit easier for you guys to pick up. In terms of a repeating activity, so what I'm going to do now is just show you what it will look like. So I'm just going to say that my activities are running for 2 weeks of the summer. So I've been funded for 2 weeks. My sessions run on a Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So ones that are highlighted in blue, you're telling the system that I only want days for the times that I set on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. And then what you want to do is set a start date. So I want these to start from, let's skip to July, the 24th of July, and my sessions are from 10 o'clock. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to repeat. I want to go through, I mean, let's go through to the end of August. We'll do the full block. So we're basically just creating that start and end window. I've lost where I am, and I've definitely not got glasses on to be able to read this. 31st of August, there we go. So what I've done here is all of my sessions between that window of time. So I'm starting on the 24th of July and I'm finishing on the 31st of August, and I'm going to have every Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday a session for 10 o'clock will appear to be booked. Okay, you do have the flexibility to add more dates. So if I was doing this, I can do exactly the same if I was doing a morning and afternoon session. So if my afternoon session is from 2 o'clock, for example, it's a little bit later, I can set up back exactly the same. So if you are running AM and PM, it'll look a little bit like this, but it's really flexible in terms of what you do. If you do PM sessions, but it's only on a Friday and Saturday, you can just remove what this looks like and go from there. You can also add one-off days as well. So if you're doing a Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you also have a random one-off day, you can also put that in. So that's just for argument's sake, just do one in a little earlier the week before. Obviously that's not relevant for your user case, but just to give you an idea that there's lots of flexibility in here, and hopefully this will allow you to really be able to kind of be flexible in terms of adding all your dates, and it might stop you from having to add multiple activities to the platform as well. Okay, for those of you that need help with this, we have lots of online help in terms of using the scheduler, and I know the Hearts team will really help you, support you with this as well. But if you do need help, we're also behind the support buttons on the website, so need help is here, and you can get in contact with us through the Playway support, the little goofy icon down here as well. Okay, so if you do struggle with this part and go, oh, I'm not quite sure I've done this right, you can get in contact with us and we can help check through that. Okay. So this is one of the differences that I wanted to talk you through. So previously you would have had me land on this page and I would have told you there would have been a booking form here that says do not remove, that was essentially the most important part of creating your activity. What we have done, and there's been a new release in Playways recently about how we collect data in the platform, so we've removed that from you having to select that. So you now don't need to worry, you just need to create your activity, and on this page you do have an option to be able to add age eligibility. So I know from working with some of you before that you like to add your age ranges. Hertfordshire at the end are just going to show you a little bit, once we've created the activity, a little bit of guidance on what that looks like. But I am going to just quickly show you. So we have got an age range form in here, so you can use this one. But what I am going to say is if you press create new form, for any of you that are thinking about doing this and aren't sure, please get in contact with either Hearts first or myself, and we can help guide you through this process. But the idea here is for you to be able to set up your age eligibility. So if you are only taking bookings for 5 to 7 year olds, or 11 to 13, whatever age range you've got, or you've got both, you can actually set them up in here. So I'd give this a title. So I do age range, we'll do 5 to 7. And then what you're going to do is you're going to press add rules, but you're only going to do it on the date of birth button. For any of you that want to add any other rules, before you do anything like that, get in contact with Hertfordshire. I'm not going to go too deep in the presentation, but for now, for those of you who are adding date of birth rules, you can add them from here. You can set a before and after rule. So this is, some of you will recognize, it looks fairly similar to what you would have done before, and you can set a before date and an after date. But I'll show you what that looks like at the end. And then you can just jump back into your previous page, and if you've created a new form and you've saved it, it will appear here, and then you can select it. So it will automatically open up for you. I'm going to select no form for now. So I am just doing the age the eligibility that that Hertfordshire set. So that's essentially all of your booking form data is exactly the same as what it was last time. So you'll receive the emergency contact details, you'll get their dietary requirements, any information on SEN, but it just won't appear here. So you don't need to worry when you get to this page. And if you get here and you can't see what you're looking for, don't worry, because everything's already pre-selected for you now. Okay. We can ignore payments, so you don't need to worry about that on the platform. We have the option to use QR codes if you want to, but I'm not going to overcomplicate that now with time because there's some other bits we need to focus on. We do have some notifications built into the platform, so you can add participant notifications and organizer notifications. So you get options to be able to send your participants booking prompts. So actually, if they haven't booked activities in the future, they can get a reminder to go, do you want to book on anything in the future? And then you also get your booking reminder. So the most important one here is your booking reminder. So one day you might want this to be 2 days before your activity, and it's essentially exactly the same as the booking confirmation, but it's just reminding the parents that they've got a booking coming up for a certain for whatever child they've booked on that activity day, and all of your information will be there. Okay, and then you've got your organizer notifications as well. So if you have set someone as an organizer on that scheduling page where you want to give them access to be able to do your registers, you can actually give them a nudge to make sure they complete the register. And finally, promoting your activities. This is just to make sure it ends up on the activity finder on Hertfordshire's website. So you're just saying, yes, I'm happy. I'm going to untick this for now because I don't want to create anything and it to be publishable anywhere. So I'm just going to click finish. Cool. And then what I want to do when I land here, so this is my activity homepage. So this is, I've created my swimming camp activity, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I should see my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday sessions along the top all the way through to the 31st of August. Okay, so I've got, I'm right the way through until the 30th. Okay, so that's the first thing to check when you land here is actually, are my dates coming through as I'd expect them to see? So have I got all the things that I need? And before you do anything else, I'd probably just check that you're happy with that. Because of the essentially bookings launching all at the same time, what we ask you to do at this point is hide your activity. So it's really important once you've created your activity that you then hide it. So this just allows us to launch all the bookings at the same time. So when you actually land on this page, I'm not going to hide this one for now, but I'm just going to show you how to do it, because then I can show you how to book and edit. It's under the settings button here, and you can just press hide. So what that does is it just hides it from all your parents, because I promise you they are already looking and waiting for these activities to go live, and we don't want anyone to get a head start over anyone else. So the booking time, the launch time is at the same for everyone. So press hide on your activity. And that will hide it from your community homepage. Okay, so what that means on your homepage is that if you can't then see it, remember it's in your hidden filters here. So your activity will still be here, it's just hidden, and you'll be able to view it from there. Okay. In terms of editing, so if I want to change my description, you can see my minimum and maximum age are on here. You can see I've got a sign up deadline. This is specific to the 24th. If I want to edit everything so I can realize I've missed off the Thursdays from my activity, I can press the edit. What that does is it opens up the whole activity. So you'll see this, this is the slightly larger edit. And if I go to the schedule and go, right, actually, I want to add the Thursday in, I press save changes. It might be that the most common one tends to be I want to update all of my participant numbers. So I'm going to add the Thursday and change it to 20 participants. Sometimes if you scroll down, it changes the numbers. So what you can see here then is the update has added my Thursday. So you can see my Thursday here. And you can see I've also, all of my places have been updated to 20 as well. So that's one edit. You also have the opportunity to edit individual days. I don't know how much this happens. Some of you might have different booking numbers on different days, but you can see here the calendar card at the top turns black when I select it. So that now I'm clicking into Monday the 31st of July. So I'm editing this individual day if I do anything from here. So each day has an admin bar. So edit this activity. If you press this button, you are only editing the one that you've got selected. Okay, so just be clear on that. You can, if you edit that, you're only editing the single day that you're selecting. Okay, this is where you can then view things like your register, manage bookings, allow you to track your attendance. I'm going to show you what that looks like with a few people in a moment, so bear with me. You can ignore, manage refunds. If you do have to cancel a day, you can do it from here. It still shows, but it just says cancelled. And then you have the option to send message. I don't like telling anyone about this button because I always panic if anyone uses it. If you remove the date, we can't retrieve it back for you. So just be careful if you do remove a date from your flow here, that we can't get it back. So if you do go, oh, Emma, I panicked, I've pressed the wrong button, just try not to hit that button. There is an error that stops you. So are you sure this cannot be undone? We do try and warn you where possible. But yeah, I'd avoid pressing that remove date one button if possible. Okay. What I am going to do now is jump into one that I made earlier. So here's my very aggressively branded Playways homepage with my example activity. So what we also have that some of you might have missed from Easter is a calendar. So actually when your activities can spread, you can use this, and all of this can be embedded on your website. So as well as it going on the activity finder, you can also share your activities yourself. So you can use the share buttons within your community home, and you can take the URL link. So you can put this in your social media content, but you can also embed this onto your own website if you've also got that online as well. So we give you lots of flexibility in the platform to then add and promote your activities yourself. Okay. In terms of jumping into the register, so I'll just show you this one. This is an example where I've got a video embedded, so you can see my video here as well. I just want to show you the process of booking. So I'm just imagine here that I've gone through the activity finder, I've searched for my location, I've pressed book. At the moment I'm in Playways, I'm cheating, so I'm going to press book. So this is the path your parents will go on. So at this point it's just going to do a little bit of an introduction. So it'll tell me what at this moment I'm logged in, but it'll say that you need to log in and sign up. So at this point it will go create an account if they're brand new, and if obviously they're returning, they can log in. And it will say your booking, and it will give you the name of the activity, and then also the location, and then any extra information. So your description text will appear here. So that's at the point after they've logged in. When a parent then presses continue, this is where they'll have their accounts. So what you'll see here is I've got my Playways adult account at the top, and then if I've added child accounts, you'll see them underneath. Okay, so what you would see naturally from a parent is they'll have their account at the top, and then any children that they've added afterwards. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to stay in my account for now, but what a parent would do is they select the child that they want to book for. Okay, so I'd select child playways, but I'm just going to select me for now. I'm just in terms of showing you through the demo. What happens on this next page is then the booking details page opens. So I'm just going to show you what this one looks like, because this is the Hertfordshire one. So when I just press book, I'm just going to quickly show you. So you'll recognize this booking form that loads. So what's the booking code? All of the data that you need is going to be requested. I'm just going to show you on one because I don't want to skew Hertfordshire's booking numbers when I go through this. It was my demo community. So parents that have got all of their information complete, they can just come back to here and edit any information. So for example, if they need to update their contact number, they've moved address, they can just press edit and they can update their details. So anyone that's got eligible information at this point can just re-see it. So from some of you might remember before that the booking form wouldn't appear if all of your information was complete. Now we always show the booking form, so parents have really got that opportunity to amend any data if they need to. So they can just press edit and then they can press continue, and the platform saves that data. So for those of you that are new, the really nice thing about Playways is that parents in Hertfordshire and Happy can book multiple providers but have all of the same data. So I could book with 360 Play and then Hearts Fit, Fed and Red. When I go through those booking forms, you're all asking me the same data. So I don't have to keep completing emergency contact details, my address, and signing my life away to you guys. So hopefully that's a really nice benefit for your parents about using that online booking system when they've done that once. The next page that they land on is the dates that they can select. Okay, so I think I've done this as places left. So what it should say is a summary of the places left. They will also say if they're full, so you can join the waiting list from here, but the parent can then literally select the days that they want to book onto of your activity. So this is the real nicety of having all of your dates in one, so they can scroll all the way down and go, right, I definitely know that I need those two. And then I've got my first 3 dates because we're away on holiday for the rest of the summer and I want that first week. Okay. So if I just press continue, what they then get is a summary page. So here that will be all the dates that they've selected within that flow. And then when they press complete. So at this process here, when I press complete, it should give me the option now to potentially book another. So parents, when they go through this process, if they're booking 1, 2, 3 children on, and my phone has just dinged because I've just got my confirmation email, they've got the option to then book another, which will take me straight back to the start of the flow, which will then allow me to then book any of my other accounts. So I can then continue and then press, right, I want to book my child account onto this activity now. Okay, so that's the booking process for you. Obviously, there will be a different booking form, so you'll have all of this data from your parents completed. So this is just a quick snapshot of what that looks like. In terms of jumping back into, I've got to find my event now. I'm just going to refresh from here because I should have some bookings in here. So the system is live. So this is really nice. So as soon as that booking's been completed, I'm in my account, so I can cancel my booking from here. So this is really easy for your parents to hopefully be able to log back in, cancel if they need to. But you can see here immediately that I've got 1 person booked. So if I open my register, this is really useful. So on every single day, you have an individual register that you can export the information from. So it'll give you the name of the participant, what status they're on. So this allows you to track your session. So if you've had a parent come to you that books and then cancels and then rebooks, you'll be able to see they booked, cancelled, rebooked, and all that information will be tracked in here. So you'll have their booking date and time. So really useful if a parent can call you and go, oh, I booked at this date and time as well. You can also be able to find them. We've got some new buttons in here as well, just for those of you that may have missed them. If you do want to order it by name, alphabetical, that then when you download the export, it will be in alphabetical order. So nice and easy if you would just want to be able to download your report. And as you scroll across here, here we go, all of your information will also be available in here. So this is a really bad example because it doesn't have all of the attached data, but you're in your new, I'm trying to think if I go back to, sorry, scrolling through all my pages and I've lost my community. Basically, all of your emergency contact details, all of your information will be in this export. What we did do as a little update is we've moved the SEN data further forward in your export. So some of you will realise when you exported your registers that the SEN fields were slightly further down the export, so a bit further in your Excel file. We've moved them slightly closer. So I think it's, this might be incorrect, but it's gender, date of birth, and then you'll have any SEN fields as well. So we've essentially brought that data a bit closer to the forefront for you, so it's easier for you to spot and actually go, right, I need to make sure we've got X, Y, Z in place for any SEN that have booked onto your activity. So that's just a note on a little update that your register's in slightly different order because we brought the SEN information to the front just further along in your export. Okay, so you'll also be able to view all of that data within here as well. Okay, in terms of managing your bookings, so this is also done on each individual day. So actually, I'll just click into Thursday, the 15th of June. So we'll jump ahead of time. If I just press manage bookings here, you can see I've got a summary. So I've got my name and the account time it's booked. I've also got the option to order this as well if I've got more people in here. To mark your attendance, this is really important. So this is live in the platform. Hertfordshire can see this data as it's happening across all of you that are taking bookings throughout summer. And as soon as you mark someone as attended, that updates all of your information. So this will load. You'll then see it shouldn't reload like that, but it has done. I will have a look at that later. And you'll see I've moved into the attended list here. So it'll update on the user's side. So they'll have that information that you've been marked as attended for this activity, but also this is for tracking your data from your activities in the platform as well. So you'll be able to view that. I've got two more things to show you just around the dashboard. So you'll see here at the top of your community, there's an activities dashboard. If you click into that, it looks a little bit like this. I'm going to go quite quickly through these two next bits because I know Hertfordshire have got some more bits they want to cover with you. But this dashboard essentially gives you all the information you need on anyone that's booked. So you don't have to individually click into your activities to see how they're doing. So you can actually just look at the most recent dates. So you can use the next 7 days as an example. You could also report on your bookings. So if you wanted to look at, I mean, I'm sure some of you won't do this, but if you did want to see on the launch of bookings who's booking your activities, you can then see this information. So if I click on the drop down on the first one, select bookings, this is really useful if a parent calls you and goes, can you just confirm what dates I've booked? You can type in their child's name and their activity bookings will appear. Okay, and this is all linked to the session. So if I just click this one here, that's probably an old, let's do this one. So if I click on this one, it takes me directly to that activity. Okay, so it has lots of quick links built in. Also anything in red probably means they've either cancelled or they've been added by an administrator as well. So you've got a really in-depth sheet here of that information, kind of what's happening in your activities, who's booking what, who's cancelling at what time, etc. And then the final one that I wanted to let you know is the reporting dashboard. So if you just click on the top of your tab here that says reporting, this just gives you, if you want to do separate, I suppose the main thing I wanted to flag is the importance of, we've given you the booking system, it sends its own confirmations, it sends its own reminders, but you still have access to be able to communicate with your participants. So you can use the reporting that you get from here. So you'll have parents' email addresses, you'll have all their contact information. So if you do want to send extra follow-ups, like we can see you're booked onto this activity for this week, you can send that extra information, and this reporting gives you all of that extra data. Okay, Hertfordshire, I have just realised that I did not stop for the age eligibility part, so I don't know if we wanted to cover that bit now. I'm just conscious because we've got 15 minutes left. I don't know if this is a good time to maybe run through the age eligibility.
We have got a slide in a bit, so we'll just come back if that's okay.
I'll hold fire, that's fine.
Cool.
So essentially things to remember is when you log in and if you're creating your account for the first time, is just check all your data is correct. So when you go through that process, check all your email addresses are up to date and all your contact information's all the same. Probably just get used to using the platform again for some of you haven't used it in a while or since Easter. Make sure when you create your activity that you then hide it. So it's really important that we make sure these go live at the same time. So use that edit button and hide your activity. So really simple. As soon as I've hidden it, it just means it can't be booked yet and no one can get early access. Okay. What else have I got on my list? And then if you do need any help at any point during setup, so the reason we do this in advance and do the training is that so you can go in, set up your activities in advance of anything happening. So this allows Hertfordshire to check, but also if you've got any problems or if you do need any playway specific help, so not quite sure how to get this schedule right, or have I even just, this is what I'm running, have I uploaded it correctly, are my dates and times all correct? You can obviously contact Playways as well. So most of you, some of you will know, using the support@playways.com email address, you'll probably hear from myself or my colleague Ryan. We'll try and come back to you as quick as possible, but we do get quite a lot of questions through there, so where possible we will get back to you as soon as possible to help you with your setup. But yeah, hopefully with this being recorded as well, you won't have to listen to the whole of me go back through this, and we do have lots of really useful help in our knowledge base online as well. So if you did want a little bit of extra help on like how to find your registers, or just how to access that information from your reports, all of that is online and accessible for our knowledge base as well. Okay, that's probably it for me. I don't know if we want to jump into any questions. I can't currently see the chat, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
I am conscious of time, and I am conscious that we do have the session on Friday. So if I can ask Emma, if you can look at the chat and just answer anything that hasn't been answered. And then I think if people do have specific questions that we don't cover at all at any point today, either to email in HAF or attend that session on Friday, because I don't want to keep people too long, and we do still have some more information that we need to get across to you all. So Emma will reply to what she can in the chat, and please, if you have got any further questions, either email them in, or we can facilitate you joining on Friday. Orla, can we go back to the main slides for me, please? Lovely, thank you. Okay, so just as a reminder then, all your activities need to be set up by Monday the 19th of June. Please hide them straight away. We will unhide them before bookings open on the Monday the 26th at 12 noon. If you can let us know when it is complete, that would be very beneficial. And obviously, if you do have any queries as you are going through, then please do ask. Obviously, if you haven't done this before, you may have questions that, you know, once you have done it once, it is an opportunity to just refresh yourself on certain bits. But any specific questions, as we've said, please email into HAF@Herts. Please don't always go straight to Playways, because sometimes we can help you. It's more if things aren't working, or if things appear to be a bit more broken, that we would push you towards Playways. So as you say, bookings will open 12 noon on Monday the 26th of June. You must not take any bookings prior to this point. Summer is going to be a very busy period, and we have to ensure that every parent has got the same opportunity to book on as anyone else. Everyone is communicated this. It's communicated as part of them receiving their code. It's communicated to them if they are given a referral. So please do ensure that we are mindful that everyone should be given the same opportunity to book. If we do find providers have taken bookings prior to this date, because we will be checking, they will be cancelled, and you will need to ask them to rebook when the 26th actually happens. We will be checking all of your uploads against the location spreadsheet. So that's the information that you provided to Herts Community Foundation. So any changes of any kind do need to be communicated, because obviously if we can see something on there that doesn't match up to your Playways, we will be contacting you about it. So please do ensure that that information is kept up to date. And as I say, we will be making those live, so don't worry about going back in yourselves. That will be done by the CYP team over at HSP. Okay, age eligibility, I'll hand you over to Orla, and she's just going to go through this, hopefully just to answer any of the final questions that you may have around that.
Evening, everyone. We just thought we'd just try to get a little example on this, just to explain. As Emma said, it's a function now that comes under forms on Playways, just to help you with selecting the right dates for the eligibility for your programme. So just firstly, you need to highlight the first line is that for the summer, every child attending should have already completed a full year of school at the minimum of reception level. So there shouldn't be any young people coming to you to take part in the programme that have not yet been through reception. Okay, if they start in September and 14, they're not eligible, they're too young. We have to really emphasise that. You probably will get some inquiries. It comes down to the funding from the DFE, so unfortunately they're not allowed to attend. So what we've decided for the program is that obviously it's quite a long program. It takes place over a 6-week period. So just to avoid disappointment for children and to avoid them being separated from peers and that in their year groups. So if a child is old enough to attend, so for example, they turn 5 years of age on the last day of delivery, that means they can attend for the full day of the summer. And for older children, if they're eligible on the first day, but then they turn an older age that would take them out, they can still attend for all the sessions. Just let me show you that really simply in an example. So if we look at this camp here, for example, we're looking at a camp for children from 5 to 9 years of age, running from the 1st to the 31st of August. Just a sample. Your camps don't have to run these dates or for these ages, just an example. So if one of the children attending turns 5 on the 31st of August, we want you to accept them for the whole of the summer program. Okay, so if that child would like to attend 4 weeks of your camp, then we're happy to take them. On the flip side of that, for an older child, if the age limit on the camp is 9, however, if a kid is 9 years of age on the 1st of August and they want to book all 4 dates, but they turn 10 the following day, we still want them to be eligible for that camp, because we don't want people to jump around if they don't want to. Nice and simply, if they're eligible for 1 day of delivery, they're eligible for all. I hope that's straightforward. If anyone has any questions or is troubled by that, you can please, probably best to ping us a message. There may be a few of you who have genuine, I'm talking legal reasons or contractual reasons why you cannot do that. You can't take kids of a certain age. But where possible, we would like you to follow the rules as we've said. If you do have any issue with that directly, please let us know as soon as possible, so that we can talk you through it and try and help you.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Orla. So we'll hand over to Alex just to go through a little bit around marketing.
Yeah, evening everybody. So just one slide on marketing, because I think it's been touched upon in other phases and earlier on in the webinar. But just to say that, just to reiterate, obviously, that the bookings do open at 12 noon on Monday, the 26th of June. Just because you can't take any bookings before that date and time doesn't mean that you can't market your camps. So it's really important that we have a look and see how we might be able to market, how you can do that directly. So if you are a previous provider, do you have past registers that you can maybe put some information out to previous attendees around, save the date, we're coming back, look out for us, things like that, that will help get your camps filled quickly and get your bookings up ready for when they go live. Similarly, the Playways news function, you can put things on there. So if people are in your community, I'm going to looking at Emma, but if I'm wrong, she can jump in. But in that Playways community, if they already follow you in the community, you can pop information there that they will be able to pick up, or it gets emailed out to them. And it's another really good source. If they are already following you, they've already attended, again, it's a free Marcom's way to put some information out about your camp, even if it's things that you're not delivering until weeks 3, 4 of summer. It's another good way of putting that reminder out to people and helping with that long-term engagement. Specifically, as Emma said, you can put a booking reminder out on the Playway system as well. So just because they register on the 26th of June, they might not be attending until the 1st of August or the 14th of August. So it's really important that we keep that engagement, keep that momentum for you guys, so that if you are at 100% booking, we try and get as near enough to 100% attendance as possible, because we want all those places filled. Similarly, please consider things like social media and local services. So we will promote Happy, HSP, HCC, so the County Council, and HCF will promote Happy across their channels where possible. But Happy is a huge beast of a project, and unfortunately we can't necessarily give one-to-one Marcom support as much as possible. I might end up posting in things like Facebook groups, so Stevenage Mum's Facebook group, Watford Parents, or things like that, so I can kind of promote on a specific district level, and I might promote to say, use the search bar to search within 3 miles of Watford because there are camps, but we would really love it if people could promote across their own channels as well. And again, the messages can be very similar. Happy camps are coming, day one's happening, like look out for us, didn't we have an amazing time? All those different messages and different timeframes that we can consider. It's really important. And as I said, link with local services. Schools are very aware of Happy because they get sent the codes, and we've already had comms from schools in the last couple of weeks that they have already shared the codes, which is brilliant. So hopefully when bookings go live, there's going to be a huge you know, we might break playways, which won't be good, but it'll be really good if we can get the bookings going through. But again, please link with local services. So have a look at what's in your area. Do you have local food banks in your area that these people will probably be using because that's a service for them? So then that's probably a really good target audience for you. You know, have you got any schools? Are you using a school? Is it something that you can engage with the school to promote via their parent mail or Google Classroom or whatever channel they've got? Again, the local promotion and advertising that you can do will really help. So yeah, I'm going to pop my email in the chat as well. I believe that there are several people on the call tonight that have a condition about marketing in your grant letter, and I have written down that I have good availability this Thursday, Friday and next Monday. So if you would like a call, a chat or whatever, please drop me an email because I'm more than happy to support where I can and give some ideas, think about resources or anything like that. If it is a condition about marketing, I believe that you do need to reach out and contact us. So it needs to be you contacting us. It's not going to be me contacting you. So please take that opportunity up as much as possible. As Lou and the guys said before, we are here to help as much as possible, but I need you to reach out and then we can work together and make a magical summer. In terms of considering your audience and their marketing channels, yeah, this is really important to think about how people get their data, God, that's a different project, how people find out their bookings and find out about the local activities. Obviously, social media is free. Lots of people are in that, mums groups, parent networks and things like that. And again, consider your audience and will they be like local posters around in the food banks, local church groups, guides, scouts, anything like that where is relevant that they might market and see that product that you're offering for the summer. So just consider the accessibility of that, when and where you're going to post, and make sure it's a really clear message about whether it's, you know, happy camps are coming or we're open week 1, you know, bookings are live. This is what we did for week 1, which was, you know, amazing science experiments. Join us next week when we're going to be doing more or things like that. So again, please reach out if you do have a thing in your grant letter or if you don't. And finally, some learnings from us that I just wanted to share and about the centralised resources, and I've seen it in the chat as well. We create some templates before for providers to use on social media, and I just wanted to hear whether you can kind of let me know in the chat if they were useful or not. We didn't see that much engagement of them, and that's not to say that I have seen everyone. I wasn't stalking everyone on their social media channels. So if you use them, great, but it was just something that could you let us know if the centralised resources were helpful, were they used, because otherwise we can put our sources and our energy into other channels to support with that marketing. It's not to say that we can't do them, we just want to make sure that they're really relevant. Thank you. I can see some people in the chat, so we can still create them if we wanted to, but it's just something that we thought that we had expected more engagement to see, but obviously other people have got amazing marcoms, amazing channels out there as well, so we can definitely keep creating some new ones for you. And just to say around going back to something that I think Emma said around the description in the booking, please make sure that you put as much detail in as possible. So just to echo what Emma said, and anticipate any queries that you have. Really positive that one of the camps I visited at Easter did really action quickly some feedback that I had about them in terms of the location of their camp, signposting where it was and things like that. And that was really positive, and hopefully they found it really simple to put in place, and it helped with their camp. So please make sure that you put in as much information as possible. And if you're not sure what to put, just anticipate the questions that you might get, because also if you haven't got enough staff capacity, this is going to reduce some of those emails that are going to be happening potentially as well. And finally, from us, just to say that HCC, so the County Council, have shared all the codes with schools, and we have then followed that up with an email to schools to make them aware of the codes being sent out to them. So hopefully that should help alleviate any queries that you might get about booking codes. It's not to say that they won't happen, but we've just tried to sort of implement a few changes and tweaks to make sure that more schools do get the code, and as Lou said, to make it as fair as possible for people to book on when bookings go live at 12 noon. But yeah, please whistle stop tour of Marcoms, but if you have any questions, please do email me about anything Marcoms related, and I will try and help. Yeah, I'll pick up any questions in the chat now.
Okay, so just as a reminder, you will be audited once at least over the course of the summer period. The mainstream camps are unannounced. This isn't to trip anyone up. This is just to ensure that we are seeing the camp as the children are seeing it. The only exception to that is an SEN specific camp, where we would book this in advance, because we appreciate that the children need to be aware of additional adults or people that will be coming and the routine for that particular day. We aren't yet aware of any VIP visits, but when and if we are, we will make contact with you as soon as possible. Ultimately, if you are also aware of anyone who'd like to visit your camp, please do let us know. And obviously, if there are any HSP members of staff that can be available at that stage, we would obviously try and support where can. At the end of the day, the VIP visits are there to showcase the fantastic work that we do, and Hertfordshire is still leading the way with HAF across the country. So we may find that there are people who do want to come and visit, but we will, as I say, let you know as soon as we can. Okay, just thought it'd be useful to share a few things that came back from the audits in Easter. The first one, and this is extremely important, one of the key things that was not happening when audit visits were taking place was that ID was not visibly checked. Now, particularly when HSP members of staff come round, we are wearing a lanyard. We are quite normally clearly in HSP kit. That doesn't mean, however, that we are actually from HSP, so please do ensure you are checking ID. I know it feels a bit silly, but it is just something that we do need to ensure that people are doing consistently. And again, if you do have any other members of staff, or if you are in a school, for example, and there are school staff that come through, please do get staff to ask who they are. They won't be offended. It's just ensuring that you are continuing to think about safeguarding wherever possible. We are appreciative that sometimes when people are using playways, you may have issues with internet or Wi-Fi access, but you do need to always ensure that you have got access to personal and medical details for the participants who are there. So if you are not able to have a direct link to playways, then it is your obligation to ensure that there are paper copies, and these are stored in a GDPR compliant way throughout. We have had examples where paper has been left for people to be able to see. So we do need to ensure that we have access to those records, but that they are being kept in a safe way. A reminder that nutritional education is now an understanding of healthy eating and a healthy lifestyle. So you don't have to just worry about that. I know a lot of people quite often say, well, we don't do that. It is a requirement for HAF. We are asked to do this. So bearing in mind you've got the element now of a healthy lifestyle, there are lots of different elements that you can bring into that. It doesn't have to just be around the food and nutrition. The other element is cost of living. Again, we have an obligation to show that we are passing on that information where possible. And HSP will continue to make resources available on our website, even when the new website switches over. So please do make yourself aware of that, because it is those resources that we would expect members of staff to be aware of and obviously pass on to families should they need it. The final thing is around food standards. We have had some reports back from providers where portion sizes haven't been sufficient. So we do just need to remind you of the school food standards and the portion sizes that should be followed. And there'll be info again on the HSP website if you do need a refresher on those. Okay. Skipped over one. So just as a reminder, the programme expectations, you do need to do your registers on the day wherever possible. Please do follow up with non-attendance, so that if someone is repeatedly not attending, then it may be needing to remove them so that space can become available. The deadlines, as Sarah mentioned at the beginning, is both for the registers and for the summer monitoring, and that's Friday the 8th of September. We do need that information by that date. HCF need it for their monitoring, and we need it to create our report for the DFE. So please do those registers as you're going along, and hopefully then that will make that as easy as possible. Okay, so volunteers, this came up earlier on. So Orla, I'm going to just quickly throw to you for this one.
Thanks, Louise. So we've had a few inquiries over the past few phases of delivery about how to incorporate volunteers into the programme. We're really happy if you can do that. Obviously, volunteers are a really valuable resource, both for your organisations, for the young people taking part. They can provide different experiences for people. It can often even help people to get into the labour market. Obviously, there's benefits to being able to keep your costs down by having the right number of adult supervisors in a place. It can help you build relationships with community groups, or maybe with other organisations in your community where people might want to share their skills and their knowledge. So can be a really positive thing and can add a lot to a HAF programme if you can do it. Saying that, there's no obligation to, but we thought we'd cover it because there were enough questions raised previously just to make it worthwhile. If you are taking on volunteers, essentially, your responsibilities are really similar to that you would have towards employed staff. So you have a duty of care to people. You have a responsibility to make sure that risk assessments are in place and everything else. The main thing with volunteers is to consider the age of the volunteers. So if you employ someone 18 years of age or older, they're considered an adult, as they would be in normal workforce. And you can consider them as an adult and have certain expectations about their understanding and their behaviours. If you want to take on a volunteer who's between 16 and 17 years of age, they are considered a young person. And again, legally, there are different requirements as they would if you were employing them. There are certain considerations, like a person of that age is not expected to put it bluntly, not expected to have as much common sense as an adult will be over 18. So you have to have different levels of risk assessment in place. You can you can engage volunteers under the age of 16, but again, be really considerate about the levels of risk involved in that and how you're going to manage them. For all volunteers, they will probably need some training similar to that of your paid staff, and that may include mandatory training. So one of your volunteers, for example, could be one of your nominated first aiders, but just make sure that you have an agreement in place with them so they know they're expected to be there, because if you're depending on someone, you're not paying them, they may not be as likely to be committed to being there, and you may have then issues about covering, for example, first aid or something else. So just bear that in mind. We are happy for volunteers on the programme to engage in any of the training opportunities that we offer. That's really important to emphasise. If they're supporting and they're helping you deliver on HAF, they're more than welcome to attend the training opportunities. But just make sure that the training that you're putting them forward for is appropriate and is suitable, especially towards their age. One thing to note is that DBS checks can only be done on people 18 years or older at the moment. So that would mean if you're employing someone under that age, you will need to do a risk assessment for them, which will have to include that they are supervised at all times. and that they would not be left unsupervised or in charge of, for example, a group of children. They will have to be tagged up with someone who is DBS qualified under a risk basis. You could not leave them alone with young people or vulnerable adults, for example. As we said, this is quite individual across different types of organisations. You may have specific questions, but hopefully that will give you a good indication of where we stand as a programme. And if you have specific questions, please do come back to us and ask. But hopefully that gives you a general guidance. The main thing overall, I think, is just to emphasise, if you consider your volunteers as you would employees, there are employment law rules and everything that you have to follow. You're probably doing that for your employees anyway, so just incorporate your volunteers into that. That's probably the simplest way to do it. Do check with your insurer to make sure that you're insured to take volunteers on board, and also that you're insured to take people under a certain age on board. Some business insurance policies do not allow that. You have to pay extra for it. That's only some, not all, but just worth a double check that you have it. If you have any questions about this, please contact us directly. I think I won't be able to stay on after this chat to answer any questions, but I'm also pick it up on Friday in the open session if anyone wants to drop in then.
Okay, thank you. Orla, do you need to duck off now, or are you okay?
I'll do these couple and then we're good.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I'm not going to do all the slides now. I am conscious
Okay.
that we have run over, so I'm just going
Yeah.
to do a couple more. So the key thing here is that if anything changes, if your venue is unusable for any reason, if you have any issues in regarding changes to the programme, please let us know. The process is you tell us, and then we can either support you, but we do need to be aware of the situation because it may have implications around bookings that have already been taken, or also the mapping across the different areas, and we need to ensure that we have that provision, that 5 mile radius covered. Ultimately, if you do need any support with risk assessments or anything like that, please do reach out to HSP or to HCF. And I'm sure that we can do what we can to support you on that one. Orla, if you just skip through, I'm going to skip through the safeguarding. Just safeguarding wise, we will go through more around nearer the time. If you skip that one. If we just go to, I think it's slide. If we just go to learn and share very quickly, and we'll just pick up from there off, we can fill in the rest on another day. So just to say, Emma, I'm going to jump in here just to save time, but we are going to be running another learn and share event. It's going to be Friday the 6th of October. At the moment, we are looking for feedback in regards to what will be included in that. So that will be something that we'll be asking when we come and do our audit visits, and also taking on board feedback as to the areas in which people engage with in training or still feel that there is more that they would like to know. So that's just a bit of a save the date now, and more details of that will follow. And just finally then, as a reminder, and thank you for your patience, we have gone over a bit this evening. In terms of the what's the word I'm looking for? I've lost the plot now. The email addresses and the contacts. Next slide. There we go. So as a reminder, Half at Hearts is the key email address to be used for anything that's relating to playways or anything that's happening in regards to the delivery of your camps. If you have a question in regards to your grant specifically, that needs to go to Hearts Community Foundation. And obviously you've got there the HSP training if it's a training email that you're after. We will send you regular updates and reminders. We do have the question and answer session around playways on Friday. And if people do, particularly those that are new, would like an additional catch up nearer to the provision starting, we can have a look and see if we can facilitate that. There are a few more bits I was going to add in here around resources and things that we can link to, but we'll send those over to you separately. If anyone has got any burning questions, please pop them in the chat and we'll try and answer them. But I am conscious it is now 8:15. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. And we will be in touch further. But like I say, in terms of playways, key bit is to get that on by the 19th of June. If anyone has got any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Sarah, can we stop the recording now, and then obviously we can pick up any questions?